afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you ready to borrow? My name is Ruth Jordan. I'm the manager with the City of Charleston's Office of Women Minority Owned Business. And we are excited to present this to you on today. And so again, you are in the webinar, Are You Ready to Borrow? Those who just recently joined us, please put your name, your business and your name in the chat box. A few housekeeping. This presentation is being recorded and will be made available. Your videos and audio is off. However, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A box. Today, I am your moderator here with the City of Charleston, Ruth Jordan, manager of the Office of Women Minority Owned Business of the City of Charleston, a division of our Business and Neighborhood Services. Also with us today is two other staff, but what I like to call them my Zoom architect. They're here for technical support, Brian Garber and Christina Ott, all of the Charleston Business and Neighborhood Services Division. And we're excited to be presenting it. And then you're going to hear further about our presenters. Two of our presenters, Mr. Paul Featheringill and Jerry Jenkins. But before we get started, we want you all to know that small businesses are the heartbeat of our community, changing lives and creating opportunities. It is our mission here with the City of Charleston to help connect and sustain and advocate on your behalf. And so the City of Charleston wants to start with our first polling question. And our first polling question is going to be, are you an M&WBE, a woman-owned or minority-owned company? Yes, no, or unsure. Click on and we'll get the results. All right, we got the results yet?
All right, just a few more people.
Okay.
Great.
And the results are, Christina?
Oh, 100% that have responded said you are a minority or woman-owned business. So that's great.
Good. And our other, so that's 25 out of 25, but we have almost 45 persons on the call on today. And so again, our role here at the City of Charleston is to help sustain and connect women minority owned businesses. And so we are advocating for all business, whether small or large, but particularly small businesses. And so we have two great resource partners with us today. Our first presenter is going to be Mr. Paul Featheringill. Paul Featheringill is the Regional Director at the Charleston Small Business Development Center, better known as SBDC. Paul has over 15 years of experience in economic development and small business finance field. Most recently, he spent 5 years as a business loan officer for the City of Columbia and 4 years as a loan officer for the Charleston LDC, now known as the Klein Fund. Paul has vast experience in the financial planning session, as well as financial assistance to small businesses. He grew up in Charleston. He has a bachelor's degree in political science from the University of South Carolina and a master's degree in public administration from the University of Georgia. I introduce to some and present to others our first, I like to call them our resource expert, Mr. Paul Featheringill. Take it away, Paul.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ruth. It's a pleasure to be here. I always enjoy getting the opportunity to work with the City of Charleston. What we have here today is some very important information for you as business owners, those of you who are already in business and those who are looking to go into business, about are you ready to borrow? And more specifically, what are some different financial options, financial resources that are available out there for you? First, So you're going to hear from Jerry Jenkins in a little bit, who's with the Climb Fund, who is going to talk to you specifically about what they offer as far as financial options and opportunities. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit first about just some general things to think about in determining, are you ready to borrow? And then how we as the SBDC can assist you in doing that. So first, I wanted to tell you a little bit about who we are, the South Carolina Small Business Development Center. We have a statewide network of highly trained professionals. We're located in 20 different centers around the state. We offer no fee, individual confidential consulting to both startup and existing businesses. We also do educational workshops similar to this one, where we can help you more fully explore specific topics related to your business. And we also provide access to useful business resources on the funding side and also on other resources that you may need for your business. So to give you some examples of the kinds of clients we work with, if you are looking to start your business and you need a business plan or some financial projections or a marketing plan, we can certainly help you do that. If you are an existing business and you need financial resources, we can help you prepare for that. If you're looking to expand into other markets, to add other products, we can assist you with that as well. We also have some areas of specialization that we assist businesses with, those being manufacturing, government contracting, those who are looking for procurement opportunities with federal, state, or local government, marketing, intellectual property, technology, commercialization. These are all areas of specialization where we can help you. So let's talk in general about small business funding. Where can you go? What are some different options that that would be available to you to finance your small business? We get a lot of questions about all that many grant opportunities out there for starting a small business. So that means that when you're looking to start your small business, you've got to look for some other opportunities. So what are some other things that you can look at? One would be individual investors, and those would be, you can look at friends, you can look at family, you can look at other businesses. There are some different online lenders out there that you will see, and especially recently as businesses went out and were applying for COVID relief financing through the Paycheck Protection Program and some other things, there were a lot of online lenders that get involved in that. What we generally caution people with as far as online lenders are concerned is to make sure that you know all of the terms, make sure that you know what you're agreeing to. So look at the interest rate, look at the repayment terms, make sure that it's something that is manageable for your business. There are some non-traditional bank financing options. You're going to hear from one of them, the Climb Fund, in a little bit. And these are organizations that they do lending for startup and existing businesses, but not in the same way that traditional banks do. They have more resources and more flexibility to allow them to work with startup businesses, newer businesses, those that maybe aren't quite as profitable, different kinds of situations where traditional bank financing might not be an option for you. And then in some cases, if you're an existing business, in some cases, conventional bank financing can be an option for you. Typically, what they're looking at for conventional bank financing is to see that you've been in business for at least 2 to 3 years. They're going to look to make sure that they want to see that you're profitable. They want to see that you're projecting to grow and remain profitable. So that might potentially be an option for you as well.
And Paul, let me just interject here that, and I'm glad that you brought up that there are different types of lenders. And so on next month, November 3rd, we're going to actually have Meet the Lenders. And so not only we're going to have traditional lenders, but non-traditional lenders. And you'll hear more about that particular webinar next month, where you will personally be able to meet the lenders via Zoom. And this is going to be a great opportunity, whether you're looking to borrow $1,000 or $10 million. These are all going to be various lenders, and on November the 3rd, and we're going to talk about that at the end. So you don't want to miss the information about Meet the Lenders.
Yes, that is fantastic, and certainly encourage everyone to take advantage of that. You know, there's a lot of opportunities out there that people aren't aware of. There's a lot of non-conventional lenders that can really help you, that can really help to grow your business, and a lot of it's just getting the information and knowing who's out there and what they're able to do. And so events and resources like that are fantastic, and I certainly encourage you to do that. So as I mentioned with conventional bank financing, where that can be a challenge for a lot of businesses is they're looking at time in business. They typically want to see that you've been in business for 2 to 3 years. They are going to look at your personal and business credit. And a lot of times, one of the other things that becomes an issue for people is loan amount. And what I mean by that is, you know, businesses have different needs depending on the size of your business, what you're looking to do with the financing. You know, for banks, typically they are going to look at $300,000 or $400,000 or more before they're really going to start to get interested in working with you on financing. Well, for a lot of businesses, you might be able to do what you need to do with 50,000 or 100,000, 200,000, smaller loan amounts. And so there are other lenders out there that are good resources for that can help you on the smaller end of the loan amount, because it's crucial for you as a business. And this is one of the things that we as the SBDC can help you with, to determine exactly how much you need to finance your business, because you don't want to take on more debt than you need, certainly, but you also want to make sure, you want to be very cautious to make sure that you're not undercapitalized, because that can really damage your business from the start if you don't have enough capital to grow the way you need to. As I mentioned with small business investors, a lot of times a good resource that people will go to for this is family and friends. You know, having them, you know, getting money from them to start your business. Now, I always encourage people, if you're going to do this, to be a little bit cautious. These are family and friends. These are people you're close to and you care about. Make sure that you're all in agreement on what the terms of it are. Is it a loan? Is it a grant? Are they expecting you to pay them back over time? Is there interest tied to that? Just make sure that you get something official with them to determine what kind of financing this is. Angel investors are another option for people. There are different angel investor groups around town, which we can help point you in the direction of, where basically you can go and make a pitch to your business and they will decide whether or not they want to invest in your business. What you want to be cautious of with the angel investors is, are they looking to take some kind of ownership stake in your business, or are they going to expect you to pay the funds back? So again, you just want to make sure that you ask the right questions and know what kind of terms you're going to be getting for the financing that you're going to get. I mentioned online lenders. These are just a few of the more common ones that you might have seen: On Deck, Cabbage, Lending Club, Prosper, Square Capital. What I caution you with these, the advantage to these lenders is that they can get you money quickly. Okay, typically you will fill out an application online and you will have access to capital typically within 24 to 48 hours, and they will deposit it directly into your bank account. Whereas if you go to a traditional bank, a lot of times it's going to be a longer process. There's going to be more paperwork involved and more that you have to do. However, what I warn you about is that, you know, kind of a general rule of thumb I give to people is that the easier it is to get money, the more it's going to cost you to have it. And so a lot of times when you look at these online lenders, it's a lot easier to get the money, but it's going to be higher interest and fees and shorter terms. A lot of times they will take the money directly from your bank account. A lot of times you will pay daily. It'll be a percentage of your sales. You won't have any flexibility in that option. So just be careful to ask the questions and know what you're getting into. Crowdfunding can be another option for some people. These are some you might have heard of: Kickstarter, Funding Circle, GoFundMe. Not all of these are geared, you know, you have to, not every crowdfunding source out there is geared at small businesses, but some of them are. And these are some of the ones that do have a small business aspect to them. And basically what this is, you go on and you make a pitch for your business, and the public, people can make contributions to you to help you start and grow your business. So depending on what kind of business you have and what kind of pitch you have for it, this can be a good way for you to go about getting funding. So what are some things that you should know as you get ready to go out and look for financing for your business? And Jerry will emphasize some of these things as well, but I want to point these out to you. Number one, there's no such thing as 100% financing for your business, okay? You are going to have some skin in the game. Most lenders are going to look for 10 to 20%, if not more, for you to have on hand, especially if you're a startup, to put into the business. Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can go about doing this, and we've talked about some of them already. So it can be money that you've saved up that you have in the bank. It can be money that you get from family and friends. It can be money that you raise through angel investors or crowdfunding. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it, but one way or another, you need to be prepared for having some of your own capital to put into the business. Personal credit history is really important, whether you go conventional financing or non-conventional bank financing or non-conventional bank financing. Your personal credit history is really important. So what I encourage people to do is, if you are going to pursue financing, make sure that you know what your credit history looks like, okay? You can go to freecreditreport.com and you can pull a free credit report once a year. Okay, make sure that you do that, and make sure that you keep an eye on it and that you know what's on there, because a lot of times, just to be honest with you, there are going to be things on there like medical collections or, late payments that either aren't correct or that you're not even going to know about, that if you know about it, you can take care of it and help prepare yourself for borrowing, but you have to have that knowledge and information to be able to do that. So make sure that you check your credit history from time to time, and certainly before you go to borrow money, to know what it looks like. Collateral is going to be,
So Paul,
yeah.
when they say that the worst time to go and seek funding is when you're not ready and when you need it, right?
That's exactly
So
right.
that's the worst time to go and seek funding, is
That's
when
exactly
you're
right.
not ready,
Yep,
but you need it.
that's
And
right.
so preparing yourself in advance is very important.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. Preparing yourself as much as you can, because it's really, and Jerry can attest to this as well. But I talk to people all the time who say, I need financing in the next week or two to save my business, and it's not very often that we're able to make that happen. It's a much longer process than that, and there's things that you can do as you go along to help yourself be prepared, so that if you do get into some of those tight spots, you're a lot more ready to go out and do this than you would be otherwise. So collateral is going to be required for any loan that you're going to get. So think about the kinds of things that you can use as collateral. As standard kinds of things, lenders are going to look to take the assets of your business. They're potentially going to look at personal assets that you have, such as your home, such as vehicles, other things like that, depending on the amount of the loan and how you're going to use it. And personal guarantees are often going to be required. I know Climb Fund requires them. I know that a lot of other lenders do as well. And what this is saying is that if you are not able to repay the loan out of the proceeds of your business, or if your business closes or anything like that happens, you are guaranteeing that you're going to repay that loan out of your personal assets. So that's something that you want to think about. Something else you want to think about is there somebody else who can guarantee the loan for you that maybe has more assets than you do? It could be a family member, it could be another business, whoever that is. That's something else so these are all things that you want to think about, and things that you should know as you're looking to go for business financing. So what kinds of things do you generally need for a loan application? And I want to say that, loan packaging, putting together a loan application, that is something that we can assist you with here at SBDC. We won't do it for you in the sense that, we're not going to write a business plan or fill out a loan application for you and do it for you, but we can sit down with you and we can walk through it with you and make sure that you do these things correctly, and that you are ready to, that you're ready to put in that application. Because we have, here in the Charleston area, we have an office in North Charleston. We have 5 consultants here in the office, myself included, and we have a lot of familiarity with many different lenders in the local area. So we can help you. We kind of know what they're looking for as far as putting these loan packages together, so we can help you do that. So what are some things that you need? Number one is you have to have a business plan. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what goes into that and how we can assist with it. 3 years of projections for your business. Now, here's the other thing that I want to make sure to emphasize with this. If you need to go, everybody will tell you that if you are a startup business and you're looking for financing to actually get your doors open, that you need a business plan and 3 years of projections. That's 100% true. But what I'm also going to tell you is that if you are an existing business and you are looking to borrow money, there's a reason why you need to borrow that money, either because you are in some kind of difficulty or because you are looking to grow the business. Either way, a lender is going to want to see some kind of business plan, and they're going to want to see 3 years of projections to show how you're going to use the funds and how the business is going to grow and change with that investment. So these are things that are applicable to you, whether you are an existing business or a startup. So that's something that I wanted to go ahead and emphasize. A personal financial statement, talking about your assets and liabilities and your personal financial condition. Personal credit history. I mentioned making sure that you check your credit from time to time, and certainly before you go to borrow money, make sure that you know what's on your personal credit report. A resume. One of the things that lenders are going to be looking for is, what is your background and experience that helps us to believe or leads us to believe that you can be successful in this business? For example, if you come and say, I want to open a restaurant. Well, okay. Have you worked in a restaurant before? Have you managed a restaurant before? Do you know anything about managing employees, managing inventory, different things like this? So you'll have to have a resume prepared to show what your experience is that will help you to be prepared, or who you're going to bring into the business to help you with those things that you're not able to, or maybe your qualifications aren't quite there yourself. And so tax documents. If you are an existing business, we're going to want to see personal and business tax returns. If you're not yet in business, personal tax returns. If you are in business, a profit and loss and a balance sheet, which Jerry will talk about a little bit more. Bank statements, personal bank statements and business bank statements, a cash flow statement, which tells us how much cash you have coming into the business and how you're going to spend it. Again, Jerry will talk to you a little bit more about that. Any loan documents for any existing loans that you have, so that we can see what other kinds of debt you have and what kinds of payments you're needing to make, and then a collateral list of what you can use as collateral. So these are the basic things that we as the SBDC can help you get together as your loan package that then you're going to take to Jerry or another lender that he's going to use to help determine whether or not to give you a loan.
So Paul, sometimes it seems very overflowing when you see that whole
absolutely
entire big list
absolutely
of
it does.
items. And so you do have mentors or persons in your office that can assist with helping people put that packet together, right?
Absolutely. And so, what's going to happen is, if you go to Jerry or another lender, they're going to give you a list that looks just like that. And they're going to say, these are the things that we need to be able to process your loan application. And you're going to look at that and say, I don't know how to get all this stuff together. And so that's when I want you to think, I should go to the SBDC and I should talk to them about what all this means and how I should get all this together, because that's really one of the big places where we can come in and help.
Exactly.
And one of the other big places where we can come in and help is with your business plan, because if you go on the web and you do a search for business plans, you can find all kinds of templates for them out there, and they're really, really good. But in the same by the same token, a lot of them seem really overwhelming, and you might be looking at it and thinking, I don't know how to do all this. And that's where we can sit down, and we won't do it for you, because here's the other thing that I want to tell you as a with some of my lending experience. There are services out there that will write a business plan for you and will write projections for you, and they will charge you an awful lot of money to do it. I have seen people pay up to $10,000 to get a business plan and projections put together for you. Now, here's the problem with that. The purpose that a business plan serves, in addition to helping a lender like Jerry or somebody else determine if your business is going to be profitable enough that it makes sense to give you a loan, or successful enough that it makes sense to give you a loan. The other thing it's helping you do is it's helping you figure out how you're going to operate your business and what your business is going to look like. Because I can tell you, as entrepreneurs, you have a lot of really good ideas, you have a lot of thoughts, you have a lot of ways you could potentially do things. And so one of the challenges you have is, how do I focus these things and get it so that I'm really putting this together in a way that it's going to be successful? And if you don't go through that exercise yourself, it's not really of any benefit to you to having done it. And the other thing I'll say, and I shouldn't speak for Jerry, I don't know that this is still true, but at least when I worked there, we would not accept business plans that were not written by the business owner themselves. Even with assistance from us or from somebody else, that's okay, but you still have to be involved as the business owner in the process of putting the business plan together, or most lenders are not going to accept it.
And so, Paul, we have 2 questions for you.
Please.
And we want people to please use the Q&A box to ask any questions along the way. And then at the end, we'll have one big Q&A session. One of the questions is about how long does this process take from start to finish to get your plan put together and application to be approved?
Well, as far as the application to be approved, I can let Jerry address that. It really depends on the lender, and it depends on, if there are any issues that they run across while they're going through and underwriting your loan application. From our process, and I know this is this is not necessarily going to sound like a good answer, but it really depends on you, in the sense that, what we will do is we'll sit down with you and we'll have an initial session and we'll talk about what you're looking to do. We'll walk through the business plan and the pieces that you need to get put together. And then I'll give you some guidance on how to do that. And then I'll say, okay, go put these sections together with this information and bring it back to me and we'll finalize it. We can do that in, as little as a week or two, if you're really buckle down and really work on it, or sometimes it can take longer if it takes you a little longer to get everything together. But so it really kind of depends on you and, how quickly you work on it and get the pieces together. And, as I said, as far as how long it takes from the time you get a loan application in, it really depends on the lender, but I'll let Jerry address that piece.
And so the other question is, if they already have a preliminary business plan or preliminary cash flow analysis, will your office, SBDC, be able to review that and maybe give them some recommendations?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. We do that all the time. That's a big
Right.
part of what we do, is to go through, and that makes the process a little quicker too. I mean, if you bring something to me that's a draft already, and we don't have to kind of start from scratch, I've done those in as little as a few days. So absolutely, we are willing to do that.
Okay, thank you.
So just as to give you some pointers about what a business plan should have, it's really to precisely define your business, talk about what goals you have. Why are you doing this? What is it that you want to accomplish with this business? And it's really kind of the resume for your business. How does it work? What does it do? You want to have balance sheet, income statement, cash flow, all this kind of thing. The projections that we mentioned that Jerry will talk about a little bit more. Really what it's going to help you do is figure out, how do I operate this business in such a way that it will be successful and that it will make the money that it needs to sustain, that it will grow the way I want it to grow. How much money do I need to do this? How do I need to allocate decisions when allocate resources, and what kind of decisions do I need to make? And it helps you figure out, especially if you've never owned a business before, because there are certain things that are common to all businesses, regardless of whether you have a restaurant or a retail store or a service business, whatever it is. You're still going to have to manage employees. You're still going to have to manage payroll. You're still going to have inventory. You're still going to have taxes. You're still going to have all these things that you're going to have to do. And it helps you to really focus and figure out, how am I going to manage these things? And who am I going to get to help me in those areas where I'm not as strong? As the lender, what you really want to see is, do I know what I want to do here? Because, the worst thing that a lender wants to hear, if a lender asks a question about, what I'm doing, because then they think they're not quite ready to do this yet. So that's what we can help you is figure out what those potential issues are that you need to think through. What is your business and why do people need it? So, sometimes people get upset when I say this, but pretty much no matter what business you have, somebody else is doing the same thing. So what you want to explain is, what is it about your business that is going to help it to be successful? Is it location? Is it some unique product or service that you're offering? Is it a unique take to that product or service? What is it that, is it just that there's so much market demand that's not being met? Whatever it is, those are the things that you need to explain to help a lender really get comfortable with the idea that this is going to be a successful business. Explain your business model. How are you going to get customers? How are you going to make money? So how are you going to market it? How are you going to find customers? How are you going to sell to those customers? And how are you going to grow this business? As I mentioned, what are the qualifications of yourself and others that you're working with? What partners are you using where maybe you don't have those qualifications? Is there a market for the product or service that you're offering? And then, how are you going to market it? Why is somebody going to come to you to get this product or service instead of going somewhere else? And we can help you do this as well, as far as providing you some market data, helping you to look at these sorts of things to figure out what your market is and if there's a market there. Because no matter how great your business is, if nobody buys what you're selling, then you're going to have trouble really growing it and making it as successful as it could be. And then there's a lot of lenders require what's called a SWAT analysis, which is where you are going to indicate what are the strengths of my business, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats, and how am I going to, capitalize on my strengths and weaknesses? How am I going to address my opportunities and threats? And we can help you put those together as well. And then how much money do I need and why do I need it? Okay, what are my sources and uses of the funding? So what do I need money for? How much do I need? And you really want to be as specific about this as you can be, because the worst thing you can do as a business is to not have enough money to grow and be successful, because very few businesses are going to be wildly financially successful from day one. You're going to have a time period in there where you're going to need to market and grow your customer base. And so you need to make sure that you have enough money to get through that time period and get to the point where you're going to be successful. How are you going to use them? And then, as I mentioned, and Jerry will talk about this as more, having projections that show, that you're going to be able to build it up enough and have enough customers and make enough money to be able to be successful and to repay your loan. I mentioned source and use of funds, knowing how much you need and how much you will use and how you'll use it. And not only how much you need, but where are you then going to get it? So how much do I have to put in and how much am I going to ask the lender for? That's another piece that's really important. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jerry to talk more about some of what they do and some of the specific, financials that I talked about. But I wanted to mention to you, if you need help, this is our website, scsbdc.com. I can certainly share these slides with you or send them to Ruth or however we want to handle that. But this is the link if you want to sign up to request counseling. And this is my contact information directly.
Wow, thank you, Paul. Wonderful, wonderful information. Are you ready to borrow? Our goal is to help you get ready to borrow. We're going to take about 30 seconds with this next poll question. And that question is, Christina, what's the poll question?
How long have you been in business?
Not yet in business, but looking to start. Less than 1 year, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5 years, or 5 or more years. How long have you been in business? And we're going to get the results. And we're going to tag team Jerry Jenkins, our next presenter. The results.
All right.
Christina?
Yeah, we got a little across the board. We got 38% said not yet in business, but looking to start. So this is probably a great webinar for you to be sitting in on if you're looking for some funding. The next 31% less than a year. We've got a lot of newbies today. Very exciting.
And then 16% has been in business 1 to 3 years. which is apparently right into the borrowing season, as well as 6% is 3 to 5 years and 9% more than 5 years. Now we're getting ready for PAG 2 of our presenters, Jerry Jenkins. Jerry Jenkins is a business development officer at the Klein Fund. Jerry supports Klein's lending and advising programs, which are structured to address the needs of the underserved segments of the community. Jerry is an expert in small business financing and brings over 20 years of banking experience to the Klein team. He spent much of his time with Big Bank, Bank of America, where he served in various leadership and management positions. Prior to joining the Klein, Jerry worked as a senior vice president for Pinnacle Financial Partners. I present to you and introduce to others, Jerry Jenkins.
Hello, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you.
And so while Jerry is sharing, remember, any questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A box with any questions as we continue.
Okay, so we just want to say thank you to Ruth and her team and the city of Charleston for allowing us this opportunity to speak with small business owners. I love speaking with you. So I hope that you can get a lot from what we have to present. And also working with Paul and SBDC has just been so great. I'm a good friend of Paul's, and working with him is just awesome. So the Klein Fund. Let's talk about who we are. So the Klein Fund, we are mission lenders. And what I mean by that is that our mission is to lend to, first of all, veteran-owned businesses, business owners, female-owned business owners, and minority business owners. That's our core mission. Now, we lend to everyone, but that's our core mission. And we look for opportunities to lend to owners who have been overlooked for opportunity and economic justice in creating loans and jobs. Just to give a little brief, we started out in 1979 as a part of the city of Charleston to help with small businesses. We then grew to the county of Charleston. Last year, we rebranded ourselves as the Klein Fund. Two reasons why. One of them is we're now state certified, so we can do lending across the state of South Carolina. Also, as you talk about climb, we're hoping to help small businesses climb up. So we are a 501 nonprofit certified community development financial institution. And like I said, we are state certified to lend across the state of South Carolina. Our history, I just gave you a little bit, like I said, started in 1979. What's really great, at the end of last year, 2020, we have made, and now this number has increased, we're now over 500 loans made over that time. Well over now at $30 million, we have lent out to small businesses. Well over 2,000 jobs created in our communities. And what I'm very proud of over 500 units of affordable housing that we have created into the city of Charleston. And we have a 92% successful repaid loan rate. And you may say, wow, that is so high. That is much higher than the average. And I'll tell you a little later why. Because we are actually intentional in making sure not only that the loans we made to small business owners are successful, but they grow and they're able to pay us back. All those funds go back out in the community in the form of loans. And if you look, you see some of the great businesses the way you may recognize that we've helped got started. Baked, acute heating and cooling. And where do our borrowers come from? What industry are we in? This give you a little breakdown. Consumer services. Now that takes in a lot of different things. A lot of businesses that from everything from cooling and air onto maybe even someone who's starting some consulting. So that encompasses a lot. So that's 30% of our borrowers. Then you look at health and wellness, which is about 16%. Housing, about 3% as we continue to grow that part of our portfolio. Manufacturing, wholesale, and transportation. That's becoming really big now as so many companies start to come into the Charleston, the Low Country area, Walmart, Volvo, Mercedes-Benz, that part of the portfolio is really going to grow. Also retail, 15%. And probably the largest part of our portfolio is food and bev restaurants. So we consider ourselves experts in that area. And I will talk about TA, which is called technical assistance. I love this part of it because not only at the Climb Fund do we help you get funded, start your business, expand your business, help you during times where you need funding. But after that, after we give you that check, we then help you with technical assistance. We help you with things like your QuickBooks, accounting, marketing, social media, HR, IT. We also recently added what we call pre-TA. While you're in the process, we're going through the application, you're getting your loan ready, we help you with stuff like leasing contracts for restaurants. We have TAs, consultants that would help you with how to start your restaurant, how do you do it in terms of running the front of the house. We also have a consultant for the back of the house, you run the kitchen. So these are experts who are in this area who we offer to you free. This is free consulting that the Climb Fund offer to help you continue to grow your business and start your business. Now, if you want to take them beyond that, then that's something that you have to work out with a consultant and you pay for that. But in terms of how to get started and advice on after we help you fund it, then the Climb Fund itself pays for that. And once again, if you look to the side, these are some great businesses that we've helped got started. And I just want to mention the Born Group. The Born Group was two young men that you see here that graduated from the College of Charleston. They came to us with an idea that were turned down by every bank in town. They wanted to start signs. They wanted to make signs for cruise ships that were coming into the port of Charleston. Well, fast face to 5 years later, they just purchased a huge warehouse on the port of Charleston, $4 million. They have now invested in their business, and they have a contract worth of up to about $10 million. And they're now doing signage for all the cruise lines that are coming into Charleston and also others around the world. All the little signs you see, watch your step, life jackets and lifeboats, all those signs now being done with a small group that started in Charleston. So a great success story. And how we lend. Basically, the average size of our loans are about $70,000. What's great, we don't have a minimum or a maximum. This is based on your cash flow, which we'll talk about. Our interest rates rate anywhere from a low of 2% to 11%. And we do have an application, a non-refundable application fee of $125. But we don't like to say no. If anything, we try to say not now. So if you come to us with an application and at that time we can't help you do this, whatever reasons, we give you a checklist of things you need to go work on. And if you pay the application fee and we tell you, so you need to work on these items, once you return to us, we don't charge you the application fee again. We just start over from the process. So we don't double charge you if you have to come back to apply again. Also, as you look at, Paul spoke on this, we don't help you in terms of building your business plan or putting together that checklist of things you need. We do give you a checklist. The list that Paul showed you is exactly the list that we have. Now, once you get that list, Ruth said it, that seems like, wow, this is a lot of stuff that I have to do. Well, we have resources to help you. And some of those resources are, the first one is the Small Business Development Center. We refer you to Paul. They help you put that list together. The Women's Development, the Women's Business Center. We also have the Chamber of Commerce that can also give you some assistance and also SCORE. Those are out there to help you. And I just want to take a short minute to tell you a quick story. Paul said, we want you to write your own business plan and get some assistance. That's important. I had a business that came to us last year that had a beautiful business plan. I mean, projections, it was a startup. It was beautiful. Everything was point blank. We asked her questions and she pretty much knew the business plan. Well, after she was funded, we have a business consultant, Charlie O'Brien, who's on our team that goes out and do visits to the business just to make sure they're doing well, they're moving forward. Well, this business hadn't opened yet, and it's been 6 months. We were like, what happened? So we went back to the business plan. She knew nothing in the business plan because she didn't write it. It was written by a professional person. So that's why we want to make sure that you know your business, you know what your projections are. So when Paul said that, that just really brought to mind of this business.
So Jerry, you're saying basically that although you may have a plan in your head and your dreams,
Right.
but make sure you're writing the dreams and the plans along with someone. You can have someone to assist you, but make sure their dreams and their plans are not written on the behalf of you. So you won't get found out if I wrote the plan for me, but it did include you.
Right, Ruth, I could not say it any better than you just did. Precisely. This business ended up closing. And I can't say just because they didn't write the business plan, but that was a large part of it. Their projections came from someone else. So yes, you can get assistance, but you need to know your projections, right? Also, when you go to apply for an application with us, you see the link is here, www.climbfund.org. Now, we do not compete with banks. We're a partner with banks. A lot of our funding may come from a bank. So we do not compete with banks. I want to make sure that's clear. We'll partner with banks. So we require proof of a declination from a credit union or a bank. What that means that when you come to us for application, we want to make sure that you're not a bank-ready client, right? So you must have been turned down. And that can come from the bank just writing an email or even sending a certified declination letter. All right, and I just talked about the business plan you're going to apply. Now, what are some leading considerations? Character. Let's talk about character. Character basically goes with your resume, which Paul talked about. We want to make sure that your resume speaks for itself. You know, you're not going to open a restaurant, but you've been working maybe, you know, at a service station for the last 20 years. You know, what's the dotted lines to the restaurant? Character is also important, and making sure that, you know, if you have anything on your credit that say, I had a client came to me once who recently got out of prison, which is that's not the issue, but he wanted to start a business dealing somewhat in lending. So it was like, you know, you lending and you basically was in prison for writing checks. So just to give you an example of some character flaws, we want to say, you know, just match up with what we really want to look at. Also, the capacity. You know, Paul talked a little bit about collateral. I'm gonna get into that, but capacity. Do you have, in terms of your business plan, do you have the capacity funds that you have set aside to help in this? We need you to also have some skin in the game, as Paul mentioned. So that's a little bit about capacity. I'll get a little bit more into that a few minutes later. But collateral, all our loans must have collateral. Now this can also come in different forms. We look at anywhere from 20 to 25% of collateral. Now that also can be something, equipment that you have purchased for your business. So the client fund, we don't want to take money out of your pocket, right? But we want to make sure that whatever you have, if you purchase equipment, if you have funds, that we want to make sure it goes into the business. Some of the collateral we do take, as Paul mentioned, was we do take the equipment of the business, use a UCC collateral for that. Personal collateral would be your residence. We say that's based on how large the loan is. You know, we also look at cars, vehicles, and different things at that sort. Credit. Paul mentioned some about credit. what we say about credit is this. We're not a bank. So if you come in with a challenged credit score, we don't close the door on you. We still look at reasons why. Explain to us what happened. We know last year was hard on all businesses across the board. So explain to us what happened. Even in a case if there's a bankruptcy, we say bankruptcy 2 years. We normally don't take those, but we listen. What happened? I had a client came to me that was in bankruptcy that had an illness. So he was able to explain that, had perfect credit, but had a lot of medical bills. And this was why. So we look to you to explain to us why have these things happened. And then many of the times we can use that as an adjustment. Because once again, we're not a bank, but we partner with banks. But we as mission lenders, we want to listen to the why. Why did this happen? And that goes into more than just a number. Your credit score is more than just a number. We want to hear the story behind why. Why did that happen? And we have the capability of every decision is on a case by case basis. We look in deep, we go much deeper than just a credit score, much deeper than just saying that, I have this much collateral, I may not have enough. We go beyond those questions and ask why.
So Jerry, we have 3 quick questions before you get into the application. I know time is running and this is such important information. I don't know about you, but I'm excited. One was, if you got a good credit score, does that mean that client won't lend to me?
Well, that's a great question. If you have and you say what is a good credit score? Well,
Let's say I have perfect credit. I wasn't turned down by a bank, but I want to come to the client.
Well, it just may seem a strange answer, but yeah, we really can't lend to you, honestly. You're considered.
What about those special EDA grant monies that you all got?
Well, actually, we didn't get any grant money. That's one thing I want to put out there. We don't do any grants.
I'm sorry, revolving loan fund.
Revolving loan fund, yes. Okay, so thank you, Ruth. But the revolving loan fund is funds that we can lend out. But we're trying to lend those funds to business owners who may not be bank ready. What I mean by bank ready, someone like you just said, perfect credit score, they can actually go to a bank and get a loan. If you can go into a bank and get a loan, then you're not the quote unquote business owner that we're looking for. Remember, we're looking for those owners who are not bank ready, who may not have the perfect credit score, maybe not have money for working capital to buy equipment. Now we'll definitely look at you and see if there's someone we can help. Because we do what is called gap funding. And what is gap funding? Gap funding may be a person who is bank ready, who is a bank client, but the bank has only given them a part of the loan. So they need a second part of it. So that's how we can come in and to assist you with that.
So you can assist with gap funding. What about
Yes.
funding for retrofitting a lease building? If they needed funding to retrofit a leased building?
Yeah, we can definitely help in doing something like that. Yes.
And is money, and if you own your building and if you have capital in the bank, is that also considered collateral?
Yeah, now when you said you have money in the bank, yes.
Let's say I have my 20%.
Right, if you're gonna use those funds to put into your business, yes, we can see that as part of the collateral, yes.
Okay. And
Hey,
then
Jerry.
the last question before we get you going into the application is, the bank turned us down, but I'm having trouble getting the letter to state that they will not send me an email. Do I have to have an email showing that we've been declined?
The short answer is yes. And a lot of that, I can reach out to the banker to have them send me an email. But yes, you have to have that email or that letter saying you've been declined. Yes.
So you can reach out on behalf of that client to that lender that declined them.
Yes. Being that I've been in the banking industry so long, and I've made a lot of friends through the banking industry. Yes, we can reach out. I've reached out to bankers before and said, listen, I know you've had this client. and you may have not even taken an application with them, but you know you can't help them due to the fact that you're a startup. Most banks don't do startups. Can you send me an email stating that you wouldn't have been able to help her or help him? And they could send that to me. We can take that as a declaration. Yes.
So I don't have a good credit score, but I have a great business plan because of COVID, because of whatever. I don't have a good credit score. Can I still come and apply to the Climb Fund?
Oh, most definitely. You can comply. We'll look at, what we look at is this, a couple of things is this. Do you have credit that is currently delinquent? Like, do you have accounts that are currently delinquent? Have you filed for bankruptcy? What have caused this delinquent credit? That's what I said, we go case by case, because we want to ask you a question. What caused it? Was it just, on your part, not paying those bills? Or did something happen to cause you not to be able to pay those bills? Loss of job, maybe a sickness. So we go beyond just the number and ask you why.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get quickly into the application. We got about another 5, 7, 10 minutes most. So
Okay.
Let's see whether we can get going. The
right,
application.
All right, and Paul had one quick question, Paul. Okay, he must.
All I
you
was
had a
going to say
comment.
was, all I was going to comment was just to emphasize that it's not just credit. You can also look at time in business as another big factor that you'll look at for how someone could come to you as opposed to a bank. So even if you have really good credit and all those sorts of things, but you haven't been in business long enough, you're still not going to be bankable.
Exactly.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, great point. Thank you. And how to apply. I've said it before, if you go to theclimbfund.org, we have right there, you'll see this actual sign, how to apply, and an application. And we talked a little bit about the checklist. This is the checklist that we talked about. I know it seems a lot, but as you go through it, now, if you're a startup business, and I mean startup, you've been in business less than 2 years, you would definitely need your business plan. You would need 2-year taxes, and that's personal taxes on you and anyone who owns at least 20% of your business will require taxes on. Also, if being as a startup, so just on yourself, if it's an existing business, we need your Schedule C or your personal taxes and the business taxes. Also, we need a personal financial statement, which Paul talked about. This basically gives your all your assets and all your debits on one side. Now, if your personal financial statement is a negative number, we still look into why. Why is that? So this is a checklist that you will see. And also, as I look here, I invite all our potential applicants to visit our website and participate in our application workshop. We have an application workshop it's just changed very recently, as of this week, actually. The workshop is every Tuesday, from Tuesday at 12 and at 5 o'clock p.m. And the workshop is there. It's pre-recorded, but we're online. Myself or a loan officer is there to answer any questions. And so you can go to the website or you can go to YouTube at any time, and it's already there, and you can look at our application workshop. So starting point of the application, we've gone over this. Like I said, getting the information together, and always thinking the critical tools, understanding your business. No one knows your business like you do. So you want to let us know about that business, all right? Why are you in business? Who are your competitors? What are you looking to sell in your product, all right? I've said, I know people are asking about, so tell me about that process of funding. All right, so application comes in. If it comes into me, I take the application, I introduce you to what is called our intake coordinator. Intake coordinator will introduce you to the Climb Fund. We'll tell you about, like I just said, our website and about the application workshop. Also, they will send you out the checklist and go to the checklist. Once that checklist is completed, then you will send all the information into our intake coordinator. She will correspond with you that your lists have been completed, and she now is assigning this application to one of our loan officers. When the loan officer gets that application, that's when the clock starts to tick. So usually from the time a loan officer starts to work on the application to the time we're setting out a funding table, that usually take anywhere from 45 to 60 days. And that's based on a lot of, you drive that a lot. If the underwriter needs some additional information, if you take a long time getting the information to the underwriter, then your application stays in that portal that long. So I tell my clients, try to get any information that's requested, try to get it to the underwriter as quickly as possible. Now, we also are very busy. So, and that's a good thing. So your application may sit in the portal for a few days before underwriter can get to it. But we try to get to them as quickly as possible. But it is a first come, first served type of portal. Pops in, and that one comes in the next. The applications are in both English and Spanish, and like I said, and that checklist is there for you to go through.
And so the great thing is that there is a checklist, and they do have a free virtual workshop that you can attend to get the additional information. I know we're out of time, but we're not out of information. So we're asking you, if you can, just stay on just a few more minutes, because I believe Jerry wants to highlight some documents that typically are questions that most people may have. So we ask you, if you can, please stay on. If you can, as Jerry go ahead and wrap his presentation up. And we want to share with you about Meet the Lenders. So if you can, please stay on just a few more minutes. And so again, we're out of time, but we're not out of information. Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, yes, I agree with you. Once again, just to recap, these are some great resources that you can go to get your business plan together. SCORE, Small Business Development Center, and Women's Business Center. These are their information. You can reach out to them. Also, some key documents is your personal financial statement. If you don't have one, we'll actually send you one. And this basically just lists all your assets and your liabilities. Also, sources and uses of funds. This is very, very important. As I stated, if you're going to say you need $100,000, you need to break down why. What are you purchased with that money? And this gives a great breakdown of what you're purchasing. And then you see we assign where we pull those funds from, SBA, EDA. We have different pools which we can use to pull funds from. But these are two very important documents that must be completed. Also, I want to step back and say, if you complete the application, make sure that you sign every page of the application. If it's not signed and dated, then it will not be processed. So that is very important, that as you complete the application, sign and date every page. Your profit and loss. I can't say enough about the profit and loss. Now, if you're a startup business, these are projections, 3 years of projections, right? And Paul and his SBA SCORE, they can help you build your projected profit and loss statement. The same thing with the balance sheet. Once again, if you're a startup, these are all projected numbers. If you're an existing business, you should have this information. And what we need is the most current profit and loss statement and your most current balance sheet. Collateral. Once again, this is on the application. Please put all your collateral here. Once again, like if you don't sign and date the application, if you don't list collateral here, your application will not be processed, and then the intake person will get back in contact with you. What does this do? This slows that process down even more. Larger loans require more collateral. The larger loan, the more collateral required. Common forms of collateral are real estate, vehicle, machinery, furniture, fixture, and other equipment. So this is a client fund. I was kind of going through pretty quickly. Once again, you see two great businesses that we help fund it. They are very great success stories. This is our number at the client fund. Once again, visit us at information clientfund.org or web address. So any questions, please get in contact with you. Like I said, we're mission lenders. We go beyond just a number. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you.
I am telling you, Are you ready to borrow? I am telling you, thank you, Paul and Jerry, for such great information. Their contact information is here. Please reach out to SBDC and Klein. There are resource partners helping you get ready to meet the lenders. We have several opportunities that are coming up. We have a Veterans Entrepreneur Series where Jerry will be participating in on November 10th. You will hear more about non-traditional methods of financing your business on November 10th. And then we have the Business Expo. That's the North Charleston Business Expo next week, October 21st. You don't want to miss the expo, but more importantly, on November 3rd, meet the lender. This is the second part of this series. Today, we were helping you get ready to meet the lender. This is going to be sponsored by SBA, which is the U.S. Small Business Administration in the city of Charleston. We will have at least 6 lenders there, from traditional lenders to non-traditional lenders. Whether you're looking for a microloan of $1,000 or $10 million. We're going to have Beacon Community Bank, TD Bank, Providence, Community Loan Fund, the Klein Fund, Optus Bank, and maybe more. So we ask you all to please go register. The link is now open and ready for you to register. It's opening today. So you want to get registered to meet the lenders. And because you've attended this workshop, we know that you are going to be ready to borrow. So on behalf of the city of Charleston, we want to say thank you. And we're going to make sure that please feel free to take the survey, because it is our goal to continue to help serve and provide you with every opportunity for you to be successful. And so, yes, you will be able to get a copy of this presentation on today by just requesting it via email and by taking the survey. So again, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Brian. And thank you, Christina. Are you ready to borrow? I believe they are. And again, thank you for all of you that stayed on and participated.